Welcome to Snyders Inc., where the fun never ends. Reactions, gaming, and more with Josh as your friend. Tune in, buckle up, it's a ride you don't wanna miss. Snyders Inc., let's dive in, feel the ultimate bliss.
Hello everybody, welcome to Snyders Inc. And today we have got a Parts of Unknown wrestling video, and this is 9 wrestling moves so dangerous they were banned. And we don't get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, subscribe, and comment, link down below. Let's go. Oh, if you like the channel out with a donation, you can leave a super thanks or link to our PayPal in the description. Let's go.
Pro wrestling has a fine line to walk. You want your wrestling to look painful to maintain the audience's suspension of disbelief, but as the years have gone by and wrestlers have pushed the collective envelope of the industry, sometimes they have tiptoed just a little too far beyond that line, and it has resulted in the casualties of some of the more dangerous moves to hit the wrestling landscape. Some of these have since been unbanned, some of these have been used on occasion by the most defiant of wrestlers, but all of them have found themselves listed in the wrestling rulebook of Don't Do What Donnie Don't does. Let's take a look at them. I'm Tempest, hailing from Parts of Unknown, and these are wrestling moves so dangerous they were banned.
Hacking.
We don't do ads here. Ads come to us.
Honorable mention, chair shots to the head. Not quite a professional wrestling maneuver per se, so an honorable mention it will be, but I don't know if there has ever been a more famous shift in on-screen wrestler safety than the banning of clattering a metal folding chair off someone's noggin. It is also probably the most understandable. Like, we can all sit around and say we have so much more information about concussions now and all that, but I don't know, I feel like it took humanity a little too long to figure out that your brain is important and should be protected. For an outside example, show.
That's fair. Yeah, I feel like we kind of took too long to figure that law of logic out.
Of hands, who knows the name Terry Sawchuk? If you do, you know where I'm going with this. If you don't, he was a hockey goalie before the time of helmets and face masks, and because of that, he looked like this. Now, I don't know about you, but I think it would take approximately one instance of a hockey puck hitting my face for me to say, "F that, give me a helmet," and similarly, I think it would have taken one chair shot to the head for me to say, "F that, let's consider something else." It is unfortunate that this change came due in no small part to the Benoit tragedy and the spotlight it placed on head injuries in wrestling, but as they say, the best time to improve was yesterday and the second best is right now. The Stomp. In addition to being a solid 65 base power 100.
This is one of those moves that I'm glad he found a way to do it where you could unban it, because I really like the curve stomp as a finish, so I'm glad it's back.
Accuracy move with the chance to make the opponent flinch, the Stomp was one of the moves that bit the dust as a result of WWE's family-friendly presentation. The curb stomp has been used by many a wrestler, but its most famous and beloved variant was the one used by Seth Rollins to win many a match, including the main event of WrestleMania 31. The only problem was that Vince McMahon, in his infinite wisdom, thought the move looked too violent, and there was some worry that children would try and copy the move, despite the very clear instructions provided by WWE to never try this at home that we definitely all listened to. The move has been unbanned since, but it did lead to a very silly period of time where all former uses of the move were edited out of WWE broadcasts, meaning trying to highlight Seth's first world title win looked about as smooth as gravel. And it meant we all had to sit through Seth's attempt to find a new finish era, which started with inheriting the pedigree and ended with a menagerie of collapsing DDTs and ripcord knees and, well, I think we can all safely say that unbanning the Stomp has done Seth a world of good.
Agreed.
The Muscle Buster. Samoa Joe is one.
This is just for WWE specifically, because the Muscle Busters she used everywhere else. But yeah, this is one of those ones where after the Tyson Kidd, it's that they were never allowing that move to be it. And I don't think there was anyone also in the locker room who probably had the balls to take it.
One of the best wrestlers of his generation, and with better creative behind him, would be regarded even higher, but even still, he is known as a safe and reliable worker, and as such reinforces the mantra that regardless of who is involved, sometimes freak accidents do happen. Joe's finish throughout his career had been the Muscle Buster, where you fold your opponent above your head and drop them like you would a suplex. And while he would go on to continue to use the move during his stints in NXT, on the main roster, the move would be hit with WWE's internal eternal ban. This came after a dark match where a muscle buster caused catastrophic damage to the spine of longtime WWE talent Tyson Kidd, who would thankfully make a miraculous recovery but would never wrestle again. Sometimes all it takes is a freak accident to cause this sort of change within WWE, but again, given the results, it is difficult to argue against. The punt. When Luke watches Will Ospreay miss the hidden blade, he says, "I don't know how they did that." Bit of movie magic fun, that is. How did he duck out of the way at the last moment without seeing it? Now on the very other end of the spectrum is the punt. Randy Orton's super finisher that from 2007 to 2011 would put opponents out for any length of time, from one day if you're Triple H, because what is selling, to never being seen again until you re-emerge as a man from a swamp cult if you're Husky Harris. It was f***ing devastating, and it looked like it. Why? Well, because Randy Orton would just soccer kick you in the side of the head and everyone would hope for the best. This unsurprisingly led to real-life concussions for a number of folks, including Vince McMahon in 2009, not the man you would want to give a potentially life-altering brain injury to. The move was ultimately banned because there just ain't much of a way to movie magic that one without it looking like shit. Speaking of, it would get brought out every now and then, like at Survivor Series 2013, where you could drive a Big Show-sized bus through the space between Orton's foot and Big Show's head, and during the pandemic, when shows could be edited and the move could be done more safely. The pedigree, the first version. As you can
I like the punt kick. I like the concept of the punt kick, so I'm fine with the fact that it would get used sporadically. Because it should be one of the most dangerous fucking maneuvers.
see here, the double underhook facebuster is a particularly dangerous maneuver, capable of rendering a competitor incapacitated for a count of 3. But you must keep in mind that when performing this move, it is very important to let go before hitting the ground, or you may end up with an incident like this. Going from one evolution mate to another, telling the WWE audience that the pedigree is banned would probably raise a number of eyebrows, considering we collectively sat through that move winning Triple H matches for 25 f***ing years, but it was the original version of the move that was stuck on the no-no list. Truthfully, it wasn't Triple H's fault that this one pedigree went so wrong. Lance Storm once said, "The one time I took a pedigree, Triple H told me ahead of time to kick my feet out, not up. I looked at him and said, 'I know. Why would I kick my feet up?' And H said, 'I know, but there was this one guy.' That one guy was job guy Marty Garner, who managed to turn the pedigree into one of the most devastating looking pile drivers in history by indeed jumping up rather than out. Triple H would modify the move by releasing his opponent on the way down, and somehow, no one ever made this stupid mistake again. The Buckle Bomb. Some of the moves on this list have a famous mishap that landed them on the ban list, but this one has multiple, and honestly, they weren't even the straw that broke the camel's back. Seth Rollins' signature move did real damage to a pair of stars, with Finn Balor tearing his labrum at SummerSlam 2016 off a buckle bomb to the barricade, an injury that really put a swift end to Balor's main event run on the main roster, and Sting, who was forced into a 5-year early retirement off a buckle bomb at Night of Champions 2015. It was around this time that people rightly or wrongly questioned whether Seth was a safe worker, but it actually wouldn't be until the pandemic that the buckle bomb would get the axe, courtesy of Nia Jax. I'm a poet, and I'm very much aware of that fact. In her Money in the Bank qualifying match with Kairi Sane that I'm cursed to remember with my perfect memory, Jax lifted up Kairi into what was close to an attempt at a buckle bomb and threw her down into the corner, crumpling into the bottom rope at a very scary angle. The move caused an uproar backstage and among fans, and it was reported shortly thereafter that the buckle bomb was a no-go. The move would return to Seth's arsenal in the future, but it has racked up its fair share of casualties along the way. The Burning
Insane, man. Insane. Fucking hell. Nia Jax, thank God she doesn't injure people now. Fuck, she was through some shit. I remember 2020, till she left, where she was just the most hated woman in fucking wrestling.
Hammer. For as similar as the Attitude Adjustment is to the Burning Hammer, they could not be more different. Of course, that wouldn't stop John Cena from putting the kibosh on anyone using it, but we'll get to that. If one would allow me to wax Puro for a moment, you can't talk about the Burning Hammer without talking about Kenta Kobashi, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time and the master of one of wrestling's most dangerous maneuvers. Even with the high intensity of All Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah, Kobashi only ever hit the Burning Hammer 7 times. very mindful, very demure. Naturally, WWE took one look at this sickening move and gave it a solid nuh-uh. But one person did attempt to bring the move to WWE in a manner of speaking, that being the wrestler formerly known as Tyler Rex, a comparable wrestler to Kobashi in every way. Now this move was called the Burning Hammer, but was made 1000% safer by turning it into a DDT or a slam rather than a driver. Should be fine, right? Well, the problem now was this move was a little too close to John Cena's AA for the leader of the Fruit Loop Troop's liking. The move was banned again for daring to be better than the AA. The Shooting Star Press.
Yeah, because that actually looks kind of good. Flipping over into a DDT kind of looks really good. So Cena was like, oh shit, looks better than my move, better put that down. Whoop, better do.
Another temporary ban that hit WWE would be probably the most reactionary in their history. The Shooting Star Press has gone on to eclipse its past legacy, with high flyers like Evan Bourne, John Morrison, Neville, and Ricochet using the move to perfection, and thus the move being unbanned because of the faith in the wrestlers to do the move safely. But in 2003, when the main event of maybe the best WrestleMania ever nearly ended due to 300-pound man does Olympic dive into non-existent pool, the company said no more flips and confined its wrestlers to only do backflips backwards as nature intended. Brock Lesnar's botched Shooting Star Press is maybe the most famous in-ring botched move of all time, and with a status like that came a reaction of equal proportions. The move was banned, much to the dismay of Billy Kidman, holder of the title of ugliest Shooting Star Press ever. The Vertebreaker. With very rare exception, the
Yeah, I think this has only been hit like a very few times. This move is one that's very barely used in WWE. I can't remember the last time besides, like, I think Cody used it. I think. And besides that, I can't think of another time.
Vertebreaker has virtually never been used in WWE, certainly not on a consistent basis, which is a shame because it sounds like it would be the name of an impossible skateboard trick only achievable in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Radical In It. The move was introduced by Sugar Shane Helms in WCW as part of the 1, 2, 3 count, watch now on Wrestle Talk, and would have Helms underhook his opponent's arms, lifting them so they are upside down and dropping them on the top of their neck and back. Looks pretty devastating, but upon Helms' move to WWE, the move was banned due to its close proximity to the also banned pile driver. There are only a few examples of Helms hitting the move in a WWE ring, and even fewer examples of the move being hit in WWE since. I remember AJ Styles using the move on a house show early in his WWE tenure, and Cody Rhodes used it against Logan Paul just this year, and Cody calls his Din's Fire, because he's a nerdy nerd for nerds, and I love him. We have seen the ban on pile drivers get loosened over the years in WWE with variants like the Canadian Destroyer, so maybe we will soon see the Vertebreaker become a constant in someone's moveset. And finally, the Pile Driver. The Pile Driver is one of the most classic, most iconic, and most synonymous moves in wrestling history. If non-fans hear the word pile driver, they think of wrestling, which makes it all the more surreal that for the better part of 3 decades, the pile driver has been mostly absent from WWE programming. You would still see the likes of The Undertaker and Kane utilize the Tombstone, although even they took a pile driver break with Taker introducing his Last Ride finisher, but for the most part, the pile driver became taboo. Gone were the days of
I still think you could do a pile driver as a finish in today's wrestling. I don't know why the move is seen as such a thing. I know it's risky, but like people have it in their moveset and people don't get hurt. So like, I would say a destroyer is worse than a fucking pile driver.
Paul Orndorff and Jerry Lawler using the pile driver as the ultimate heel finisher, all because Stone Cold Steve Austin was dropped on his head. We all know the one, SummerSlam 97, Owen Hart sit-out tombstone, and one of the scariest endings of a match in WWE history. It no doubt drastically shortened Austin's career, and it meant the end of the pile driver in WWE as we knew it. Since then, it is an extremely rare occurrence to see a pile driver done in WWE. Shawn Michaels pile drive Cena at WrestleMania 23, Punk pile drive Cena on Raw. Maybe it's a Cena thing. The rule has been relaxed with pile driver adjacent things like the aforementioned Canadian Destroyer, but with your standard pro wrestling pile drivers, it may still be a while before WWE feels it necessary to take that risk. And that's our list.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.